Odyssey now has hundreds of new exclusive music stations for you to discover your new summer soundtrack.
Get moving with worthy workouts for a cardio sesh fueled by today's top artists.
Hanging with your crew? Throw it back with Picnic Party for old school jams for your cookout.
Or sail away with Odyssey's new yacht rock station, Jugger Yacht.
There are hundreds of new exclusive stations to check out today.
For summer barbecues,
road trips,
or relaxing poolside.
For every mood, every interest, every passion. By Odyssey. Brought to you in part by Macy's and Geico.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Time to unload a few of the things that really grind my gears.
Gordon Wittenmeyer.
I want to talk about these Cubs and what they're doing.
Cubs insider for NBC Sports Chicago.
Who the hell are you? Are you the Chicago Cubs or not? And are these players who you think they are? Do you want them back? Because if you do, you better step up a lot bigger than you are now. And if you don't, fine. Who's replacing them? Who you got coming? Who are you going to go get? Because those guys are going to cost money.
Perpetually annoyed.
A lot of other things grind my gears too, like the DH, unbalanced schedules, tanking, one-game playoff series.
Gordon Wittenmeyer with Mully and Hall on 670 The Score.
Now get off my lawn.
Mully and Hall, Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score. Always a delight to talk to Gordon Wittenmeyer, and he joins us on the Home Run In hotline. Try your pizza on the grill this summer. Visit homerunin.com for unique grilling recipes and more. Gordon, good morning. How are you? Did we lose Gordon? Oh, there we go.
Morning, Gordon.
We're dragging him to the phone.
Hello.
Gordon. So, Gordon, help us out. I'm just very curious, given what we've seen at the end of the first half or pre-All-Star game, where it seemed like hitting was being more effective because pitchers were being more kind of shaken down and prevented from gooing up. Does that mean that
where was this happening?
I thought it was Major League Baseball. Does this mean that hitters are more valuable in the second half of this season? If this keeps up, if guys can't get the spin rates up, does that mean people should be looking for hitters, not for pitchers?
Hell no. It means you need more pitching. You need even more pitching because that's what it's going to take to win. It always is. And if guys don't have the sticky stuff to help them and you got two or three of those guys in your bullpen and one of those guys in your rotation, then that just means you need even more pitching. So look for the Brewers to add pitching.
Gordon,
go
ahead.
I think it should make your hitters better, the existing ones.
When the Cubs get back together, whether it's today or tomorrow, what will be the lingering effects of what Wilson Contreras had to say? And did David Ross, to some degree, lengthen the story by what he said and not saying something that might have put it to rest?
Yeah, possibly. I think they're going to circle the wagons like they've done. I think they're all going to read from the same script like they've done. And I think because they're not going to be as relevant on the field, it'll have a chance to go away. I think the next time Wilson talks, he'll say something along the lines of, I didn't mean it the way it came off, or we're all good now, and I respect all my teammates. It'll be something like that. If this was a team that was still battling for first place and where every game mattered, I think that this would absolutely be a story. But then if that were the case, I don't think we would have heard what we heard in the first place. So I think that's the case, but that's the case coming out of the break. If they continue to play poorly, they lose a couple pieces in trades, and they play even worse. I think these stresses and tensions that are already in that clubhouse, that we already suspected were in there, that we already knew kind of behind the scenes were in there, that he expressed on Saturday night, I think we'll continue to see some signs of that. So I don't think it's. I think what he specifically said will probably die down momentarily, but I think we'll see more signs of it.
So what's going to happen here?
Because I think it's real.
Do you expect the core pieces to be moved, or is it simply Kimbrel and see what happens?
I think it's Kimbrel for sure, and then probably Chafin. I don't think it's any better than 50-50 on Bryant, but of course, because he's not just a third baseman, I don't think he's viewed as that anymore by anybody. You potentially have more of a market for him. I don't think some of the other guys will get moved. I know, for instance, there's been some sort of broadcast buzz in the last few days about, Baez and the White Sox. And actually the White Sox are a great fit for about 4 of these guys maybe. And I know, talking to some people over there, I don't know that they think they have what it would take to get maybe any of them. So we'll see. Kimbrel's going to have a huge market, and I think that's the first domino. And then it might be, whenever that happens, it might be a while on the next one.
Okay, let's talk radio stuff, Gordon. I mean, why would the Cubs trade Javi Baez to the White Sox after giving them Dylan Cease and Eloy Jimenez? There's a Cub tax that would come that would make that
for a big friggin' payday.
Yeah, but are the White Sox going to do that?
He'd be a rent. No, I don't think so. I don't think that happens. No, but I do think that Craig Kimbrel would be a great fit there. I think another bat period would help, but you'd like to be able to plug it in the infield somewhere.
Yeah,
because they got their outfielders coming back.
I got a hard time seeing that happening. I really do. I just think that I think David's right. I think there is a Cubs tax and a Sox tax, whatever, a Chicago tax, and you don't want to. It's like they were mentioned. I guess MLB mentioned the possibility of the Brewers getting involved with some Cubs. I just think there are certain things to try to avoid.
That's even less likely.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
So how likely is it that the Cubs
I don't know,
will come out of the break and start going young? You said Justin Steele had a good start at Iowa before the All-Star break. You saw some other, young guys who will get opportunities now. How big of a youth movement will this be in the second half?
Well, right now you've got a rotation that's got 5 guys in it without Arrieta. And I think obviously as soon as you move anybody, as Zach Davies or whoever, then the dominoes start falling pretty fast. But I do think there's room in there in the meantime to make some moves. I mean, if Trevor Williams didn't pitch well in his return from the IL, whenever he gets his next start here in that second series, assuming that they stick with him, if he doesn't pitch well, that could be a real short leash, and then that could be when somebody like a Justin Steele gets dropped in, or maybe you see Keegan Thompson not long behind him. But I think you see it probably about, well, I was going to say, you're not going to see it in the first series, and I was going to say maybe in about a week, but now at that point you're at the deadline. At that point you're really close to the deadline. So it's all tied around that. That's how fast it happens, is how fast anything gets moved. Because then everything opens up.
Is there going to be fallout from the Wilson Contreras stuff?
I don't think there's going to be immediate fallout. There's going to be a bunch of questions, and then guys are going to say happy talk stuff. And then
I think we lost Gordon.
We lost Gordon. We lose Gordon?
Not Gordon.
Happy talk stuff. See, happy talk, and then you get your line cut. I don't know how the Cubs
jumped in. The Cubs cut his line. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe they did. Maybe they are tapping his phone and controlling his access. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things where all people will want to know whenever the media reconvenes and the Cubs are there, how they're going to handle it, what they are,
Listen, It's easy, David, don't you think? I mean, you just ignore it because you're about to win a series against Arizona. So why not just take the wins and move on and then see if time covers up for whatever the issue might be?
Yeah, I think you're right, because that is what you have, the benefit of time. That's why, David Ross could have really probably done that on Sunday rather than, you didn't have a game. It was rained out. And yet he addressed it. I guess he addressed it in a way that, he needed to, or he was asked about. But what he said in not backing his guy created another level of the conversation, and kept it going.
Gordon, is that fair?
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was kind of bold. I mean, I thought that what Contreras said was true.
Okay.
I think we lost Gord again. Let's just he agreed with Wilson Contreras, and the Cubs cut his line again. My gosh. There will be no dissent.
Oh, that's fantastic.
How did they get access to our phone lines?
Oh, that's very funny. There will be no dissent.
But you're right. They come back, and you have the benefit of time. You have the benefit of playing a team you should win, a series you should win, and then you move on. So I think that's worth remembering, and that's always to your advantage. Time.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to oversell what we're staring down here, but the fact of the matter is that this is a get healthy series in a lot of different ways. We understand where the season is at. We understand how bad things are. But this is, if you lose this series that starts tomorrow in Arizona, then I think you've got to even shift gears more. If you can't beat these guys, as much as you want to talk about a team that's pretty much surrendered, it would be the Arizona Diamondbacks. They are just so far out of it and just beyond human comprehension far away. So you have no business going in there and not winning. You need to go in there and win and just feel better about yourselves, and maybe you'd have a chat in the dugout, and once you start winning, everybody feels a little bit different, right?
They are 26-66. They are 32 games, 32 and a half games
wow.
out of first place. They are threatening the New York Mets in terms of historic futility. So if you're the Cubs, this is an opportunity. This is kind of an extended spring training game to begin your second half, and a chance for you to all get on the same page, because even though you have declared yourself as a seller, you still feel like they need to be competitive. And to be competitive, it starts with this series, because you're right. If they lose this one, the wheels start to come off. And if you think Wilson Contreras was upset calling out people publicly last week, wait until they lose to a team like the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that it's just not allowed. I don't think you can do anything about it. It's just there's just they're at a bad point in their season, and this is the salve. This is the get well, and then hopefully they don't make as many moves at the deadline, and then they figure out a way to bring a couple guys back, or figure out a way to get their draft picks. Or I don't know that a giant sort of purging of the roster is a great idea. And I got to be honest with you, I'd have to be wowed with Andrew Chafin, because I think Kimbrel, you're going to be wowed, and you're going to make that move, and that's a wise one, and you get payback for the move of bringing him on. But I don't know how you're going to finish a season if you don't have a closer. So it's next man up. If you're actually going to give away more than one reliever, if you're really dipping into this group, then who's going to close for you? So I think that you're going to have a guy there just to play, for God's sake. And I hate the idea of giving away multiple pitchers during a trade deadline.
Well, I understand that, and I think that you're saying that in sort of the plea to stay competitive, and I am always for that, because I don't like this idea of ever orchestrated losing or strategically making yourself, putting yourself in that position. But Mully, if you have an opportunity to get something for Chafin right now, I think you strike while the iron is hot, because you can't guarantee that he's going to be, somebody that repeats this kind of consistency. If you can get something for Ryan Tepera right now, I think you try to do that because you've already announced that you're done. You're done. Right. I don't know. So
I think you're right. I mean, how far do you go? Do you anybody that's not nailed down on the pitching staff just get rid of? Is that the idea? And I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I'm just saying, if you've made the decision that the season's over, and selling off the closer is pretty much saying that, given how good the bullpen has been, then you've got to understand that you're going to end up losing a lot of games because you're not going to be able to do what you've done. The only way you've been competitive for the length of time you have is by pitching guys for 5 innings and then go into the bullpen. If you lose the bullpen, and that's what we're talking about here, then I don't know how your master plan has any opportunity to win. And I think they know that, and they've made that decision that they're not going to win anyway.
Well, your master plan involves now accumulating assets and acquiring talent. And everything that is related to that process involves potentially moving your bullpen pieces. Your bullpen was better than anybody anticipated for the first 2-3 months of the year. It's been the strength of your team. I don't know if that means that you can count on it being the strength of your team next year. I don't know if this means that you can count on these guys being back and having the same sort of mix because of how volatile bullpens can be year to year. So I think you take advantage and you sell high on guys like Chafin and Tepera if you can, and there's going to be obvious interest in Kimbrel. So if those 3 guys can bring you back a slew of prospects that help you be part of the next great Cub team, then I think if you're Jed Hoyer, you're foolish not to take advantage of that.
Trade them all for Blake Rutherford.
No. Now, that's pretty expensive for that guy.
The Sox did that. They brought in Blake Rutherford. They gave a bunch of relievers. It didn't pay off. You're so right. I mean, bullpens are year to year, and guys that you think are going to be really good pieces, they fall apart, or they there's ups and downs. There's a reason guys are in the bullpen. So that's a fair statement. And once you start trading one guy, you may as well try to get whatever you can for as many of them as you can. That's the sad reality. All right, it's different for the White Sox than the Cubs. There's a lot going on in the world of sports. We have a college basketball story out there that we're going to have to touch on. I know we've been avoiding it a little bit, but pretty interesting stuff. It's Mully and Haw at Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score.
This is Sports Radio 670 The Score and 670thescore.com. Chicago Sports Station.
Threw it away. Should have gone up with a layup. Intercepted by Nichols. Euro step down the lane. Missed the shot. Rebound Felice under the basket. To Coburn for the hammer.
Oh, yes. Kofi Coburn, our thanks to the Illinois Radio Network for the highlight. And he's pulled out of the NBA draft. We know that. He was considering Kentucky because Orlando Antigua was there, and that was the guy, his primary recruiter at Illinois. But apparently Kentucky not as interested in Kofi Coburn as he was in them. He's pulled out of Kentucky, but now there is a new player in the mix. It's Florida State. They lost Scotty Barnes and Balsa Koprakiva, and they're looking for a big man. And I got to tell you, just think about it this way. If you have a chance, if you're Kofi Coburn, and I get it, you're mad about this, David. You just don't like this kind of decision. But if I were to counsel him, if you were to counsel him, would you tell him, very important you return to Illinois and that's your commitment and those are your guys? Or would you say to him, Leonard Hamilton is down at Florida State, and what does he do? He turns out professional basketball players. You want to go pro, you go to FSU.
Look, Florida State is where you go if you want to be a first-round draft pick. Florida State has got the track record of producing first-round draft picks, Patrick Williams, and they have all sorts of they have 6 first-round draft picks since 2016. 4 in the lottery. So if you're advising Kofi Coburn for the best place for him to have an apprenticeship for the NBA, it's Tallahassee. Okay, that's not what I am bothered by, Mully. And I think they're two very different things, and I will sound like the oldest man in America right now. look, college sports, you want to use it as a vehicle to get to the NFL, the NBA, or wherever, more power to you. I applaud that. I love that they are now enabled to make money by their image, name, and likeness, that they are able to work for pay, that they're able to get supplements to their scholarship. What bothers me about the Kofi Coburn thing is that he is making this a spectacle, that he is 18 years old and choosing the right hat in front of a press conference in his high school gymnasium, which every recruit is entitled to do because they're 18 years old and they don't know any better. And if you're LeBron James and you want to call ESPN and have a decision and say, I'm going down, take my talents to South Beach, go ahead and do it. You're LeBron James. You're a professional. You're a diva anyway. Come on now, Kofi. You're a college athlete. This says love me. This says notice me. This says celebrate me. I'm just like, all right, pick a school. Go, star, succeed. But why do you need the whole rigmarole of the 3 finalists on Twitter and I'm going to announce it at so-and-so? Come on now. That bothers me. That bothers me.
Yeah, I can understand why it does. I honestly, and I can understand Illini fans if they are angry at the idea that their guy left school to go pro, pulls out of the NBA, and first flirts with Kentucky, and now suddenly has a Florida State. Now, if he puts on an Illini cap, all is forgiven, and he's welcome back. And yeah,
I guess. Okay.
Because it makes them a totally different team, and it makes them a significantly better team. And, here's my fear. If he puts on a Florida State hat, and now I'm with you. Now, you're talking about all this stuff. But that sends a message about the program that you don't really want out there. You don't want a guy who was part of your team to turn around and say, you know what, my chances of earning a living playing this game are dependent on getting out of here and going over there. And it's just a bad message for the next recruit. That's all.
That's why you don't want him to amplify this, right? Because the chance that it could not be you, and you bringing more attention to the fact that your program must be something wrong with it since you lost those 2 assistants, Orlando Antigua and Chin Coleman, to Kentucky. So Illinois is no longer relevant because, you lost another guy to the transfer portal, and Iowa's gone. What does it mean for us? Because Kofi's gone. And how do we know Kofi's gone? Because he called a press conference and he put it all over social media, and he wants you to celebrate the fact that he's no longer with us. I get it. And if he's an Illini, then you're like, great. Now we're going to be a different team. It's going to have a different season. I guess I just object to the idea. This is just kind of an individual bringing attention to himself. That's kind of surprising to me. Kofi Coburn didn't strike me as this kind of player, flashy, flamboyant, notice me guy. Certainly a great college basketball player with the potential to get better, but I just think that a little less pomp and circumstance when you're picking between these other 2 programs, and you're going away from your commitment to Illinois, and I just think he could do it a little more quietly.
He averaged 17.7 points and 9.5 rebounds last season. Was a first-team All Big Ten member. If you get him back, we talk about this team completely differently with the 7 foot, what is he, 285, something like that, crazy big man.
Yeah.
But, if he winds up at Florida State, like I said, what's that message? And it's an unfortunate one because I think if you don't lose your assistant coaches, you lost a lot. You had a lot of guys, Io leaving is a big one. But, we thought for a while that Illinois was as good as any team in the country. And if you remember the way we felt going into the tournament, we felt they were the dark horse. They were the team, as much as everyone was talking about the Zags, and as much as it seemed like it was going to be Baylor or Gonzaga all year long, Illinois was probably playing as well at one point as any team in the country. And unfortunately, they got knocked out. And I won't even get into how that happened, but they did get knocked out. And
they did. By who?
Who
beat them?
This would be this would be more than getting knocked out. This would be a blow you might not get up from. I'm just saying, I hate to be, the moon and the sun is fall. I hate to act like that, but this is really bad for the program if he leaves.
I tend to agree with that. 309 texter, and I expected this, points out, says, bat flips are, hey, look at me too. Pick a side, please, because earlier we talked about the bat flip mentality. I'll gladly explain the difference. When you are celebrating the bat flip mentality that Tim Anderson brought to the White Sox and you see throughout Major League Baseball, you're talking about professional athletes celebrating a moment, celebrating a home run, and doing something that is consistent with their personality in the heat of the moment, right? What Kofi Cockburn is doing is he's bringing attention to himself and saying, basically, celebrate my decision and let's bring more attention to my indecision, because I don't know that I want to honor my commitment to Illinois. I'm wavering here, so let's have as many cameras as possible on me. Let's go into social media and let's notice that I don't know what I want to do yet. And as you say, you're one decision away. You're one hat on the head, picking the wrong team of saying what statement that makes about Illinois, a program that frankly has been very good for Kofi Cockburn. Yeah. And if he leaves it, how are you going to feel about him then? So I just don't like the attention he's bringing to himself.
Yeah, I can understand why you would be mad about it. And again, I don't mind it, provided he's back with the Illini. If he's not, it's a real blow to the program, and I think it affects you. Now, they still have some players back. It's not like their season's over, but it's going to be a hell of a lot harder without them than with them. And again, they're Florida State. We don't sit around watching tons of Florida State basketball, but let's be honest about it. The minute the NBA draft comes around, we certainly are aware of the players that Leonard Hamilton has worked with and the job that he's done developing them, and they're, as you say, often first-round draft picks for years now. Is it 6 years in a row?
Yeah.
Something crazy like that?
Oh, since 2016, yes. So this was the sixth.
Yeah,
definitely. It's an apprenticeship, and I get it. And,
exactly.
I mean, you could understand that, but what did Illinois do wrong in this equation? Really nothing. So it's college free agency.
They did everything. It's college free agency. They did nothing wrong. But nonetheless, the very fact that a guy who was there isn't saying, well, I got to get back there. I love that farm smell when I'm over by the other stadium. See, now that was just mean.
That was just mean. That was just a mean shot from a Loyola grad who wanted to point out that, Loyola eliminated Illinois. That's Mully talking there.
I didn't even bring that up. I told you.
Yes, you did.
If Kofi Cockburn really cared about college basketball, his mentality would be, if you can't beat him, join him. We would welcome him by the lake shore. It would be wonderful for him to come and play his college basketball with the little team trying hard.
I get the nasty texts, and you take the subtle shots. See, that's the way it works, I guess. So.
I thought I was bombastic. I get confused.
Oh, bombastic. That's right. Who called you bombastic? That's right. Oh, Evan Altman called you bombastic.
Some guy from North Judson. I won't say which one. The Score Listener line is powered by BetQL. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetQL app today or visit BetQL.com.
The BetQL network's available nationwide on the Odyssey mobile app and website, over 10,000 home and auto-connected devices, and BetQLnetwork.com.
Tim is in LaPorte. That's close to La Lumiere. That's a national power. Good morning, Tim. How are you?
Morning, fellas. Not bad. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, David, I just wanted to point out something that you said that, I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword type deal where, you were just celebrating the fact that these kids are able to go out and make money now, and then you turn around and give this kid a hard time for leaving and going to try to do just that at Florida State while still trying to better himself for the NBA. So I'm confused on which side of the argument you fall on.
Okay.
You want him to be able to go out and make money?
Tim, I'll clarify that. I applaud the fact that they're able to go out and make money. I think I said that very clearly. I want them to do as much as they can to empower and enable these student athletes to capitalize and maximize those opportunities. What I object to is this whole pomp and circumstance. Come notice me. I'm going to make my decision tomorrow at 2:00 in the afternoon, And this seems like it's a very much a LeBron moment, and it's the decision part 27. And I understand it if you're 18 years old and a high school kid in a gym picking a hat, but you're a college athlete that I think at the point of your life, if you want to make a decision, everyone understands why, but just kind of keep it to yourself. We'll figure it out. Issue a statement, pack for Tallahassee, do whatever you need to do. But do we need all this attention brought to you? It just seems like a me type of thing. And that's a personal choice.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I agree to an extent with what you're saying. I wonder, is there an undercurrent of disloyalty to the Illinois program? Is that what offends you? Because this will be a very public moment. It won't be a moment where it's quietly, he transferred there? Oh, I didn't even know he was out of the draft. And my God, the portal is filled beyond human comprehension. You want to put a team together? If Illinois needs anything, just go to the portal. There's half the free world there. There's tons of players everywhere. Do you consider it disloyal if he doesn't return?
Well, really, whether he returns to Illinois or not doesn't really change my point. My point is that every kid in the transfer portal isn't announcing on Twitter that he's down to 3 or down to 2 or, boy, look at me because my indecision, it should matter to you. I don't know that that's really the thing, except for it seems like an immature ego trip.
They're not all 7 feet tall and 285 pounds.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. When you have the NBA body to begin with, it matters where you go. And I mean, here's the thing: it's not like Kofi Coburn is from Peoria and decided not. He's from Kingston, Jamaica, and he went a long way to get recruited to go to Illinois, and was a great a player in the program and helped them to get to a certain point until, unfortunately, they were cut off at the knees by playing a team that was moving the ball all over the place, backdoor picks, and you had King Krut going. I don't want to get into it. I don't know why you keep
stop bringing up Loyola? Will you stop bringing up Loyola?
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to ever again, so why can't I have my moment?
I will stop bringing up Indiana if you stop bringing up Loyola.
Wow, that is a deal I'll cut twice today and 7 times on Sunday. All right, we gotta get to a break. We've got Dave Joust joining us.
Yep.
Can't wait to talk to Bill and Kenny's son, and a man that pitched his heart out in the home run derby. We'll talk to him next. Mully and Haw on The Score.
Robinson is great. Elijah Wan is great, and Ewing is a great center. Those guys never play against one person. They play against 2 and usually 3, and you make the rest of the team beat you. Well, how can you be shaking your head? No.
Because if 2 people play against Ewing, if Ewing were smart enough to kick the ball to the open guy, the Knicks would win.
He does, but
he doesn't do it well enough.
Mully and Haw, Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score. Wow, that is glorious stuff. You hear the voices there. From the sports writers on TV, Rick Tellender's the first voice, and of course Bill Joust jumps in and shaking his head and tells Tellender what's what. And we are delighted to welcome in Dave, Bill's son, Bill Joust's son, Dave Joust. He is well known. He is a star of stars, the MVP of the home run derby. Everyone going crazy about it, and we invite him in on the Home Run In hotline. Try your pizza on the grill this summer. Visit homerunin.com for unique grilling recipes and more. Dave, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. That clip you just put on has got me smiling, because the only other time I kind of think about that show from a clip that I hear is when I see those old Saturday Night Live spoof takeoffs on the Bears and Ditka, and that's a riot hearing it. Thank you for putting it on for me.
Well, we're delighted to talk to you, and in Chicago we're proud of you. And I got to tell you, the performance that you put on at the home run derby, it's taken the internet by storm. I mean, they're calling you the greatest bullpen pitcher in the history of professional sports. You've done a better job. You know, it was nice to have a guy that could knock a home run out, but my God, every pitch, when you look at how well you did, are you surprised? Did you realize that? What an unbelievable skill.
I do have a pretty good skill at throwing BP, but it is always the hitter. I think back when back in 2004 when the Red Sox won the World Series, I was the advanced scout, and we got down 0-3 to the Yankees, and then we ended up winning 8 straight with 4 against the Yankees and the sweep of the Cardinals. And I got all sorts of kudos as an advanced scout by Derek Lowe and Schilling and Pedro and all these guys. And all my friends said, "Wow, it's unbelievable. Your advanced scout's the best." I said, "Wait a second. My advanced report also got us down 0-3. So it's got more to do with execution of players. Pete Alonso is a real special hitter, special power hitter, and for that venue, he's exceptional. And so let's not limit that. But thank you for the kudos. I think, and you talked about trades. I think the trade for me would be for your 10-year-old leagues where it's dad pitch, because I could make every kid look really good right there.
That's right. So, Dave, Pete Alonso got $1 million. What's your commission for being a batting practice pitcher?
The commission was that my whole family was there. My wife, our 3 boys, who one lives in Wrigleyville and is an amateur scout in the Midwest for the Giants. Our other boy who ended up, our middle son who ended up graduating from Adler University, is a mental skills coach for the Diamondbacks, lives in Scottsdale. And he was there with his girlfriend. And our youngest has just taken a coaching position at Boston College, and he was there also. And then my wonderful wife was there. And to have all of them there, that's priceless for me.
That's great.
Yeah, it's wonderful, Dave. And I think as we, look back on the performance that Pete Alonso put on, I mean, it seemed like every time he swung, and there's certainly the 35 in a row in the first round was extraordinary, but he was hitting the ball to the same place. And part of that is you putting the ball in exactly the same place. When did did he come to you? How did you hook up with him for this thing? And what's it been like since then? Have you gotten a lot of kudos from the guys?
Yeah, early on he got asked to do it in April, and I started. I had his group even during spring training. Him and Lindor and McCann and Conforto and then sometimes it was Nimmo, sometimes it was Dom Smith. So I've been throwing some spring training for him, and he was asked to do the Derby in April, and it wasn't public yet, and he had accepted. He said, "Hey, Josie, I'm going to do the Derby." And I said, "Wow, that's awesome." And then he said, I'd like you to throw. I said, "Wow, I'd be honored." It said, in '99, I threw to Nomar in Fenway when I was coaching with the Red Sox, and Nomar was the starting shortstop, was also asked to do the home run derby. And he hit, Nomar hit one the first at bat, the first pitch, and then didn't hit one the rest of the time. He had one. He had taken 400 swings during the day, and I think he was beat. He was tired. He was doing all sorts of media and all that. But so I told Pete that. He goes, no, I want you. So that's the reason also why my wife was able to set up, all the boys getting out there in Denver, because we had 2 months to say, hey, this was where we were going to spend our family all-star break, which we've always tried to do as often as possible. And heck, we even had girlfriends. Our oldest girlfriend works at Old Crow right by Wrigley. She was there. The youngest girlfriend's from somewhere north of the city, and she was there. So it was a really good family affair, and it was neat to join the Alonso family too, that's the special part of this game, is the relationships you get with players, staff, fans, everybody. So,
And Dave, it's been neat for us because what this has allowed a lot of people in Chicago to do is reminisce and tell some stories about your dad, who was a character and certainly a hero to a lot of us in the sports writing profession. And so when you think about, what would he think about the state of baseball today if he were around to see some of the changes, and how proud would he be of what you've been able to accomplish in the game?
Well, he would be proud of our from me and our whole family for doing what we're doing, because he always said, work at what you can enjoy, have fun at what you're doing for your work, which he did every day. And our three boys and myself, I kind of, I did have several years with the Pirates, and Willie Stargell always used to be quoted saying they don't start the game of baseball by saying work ball, they say play ball. So I do get to play, and then that's really neat. And being able to think about what Dad has done for a lot of people in the media and where it's gone these days. I remember I recall several times, if not more, that a media person would say something to me and say, "Hey, you don't understand what we go through." I say, "Wait a second. I have a lot of years at the dining room table or the kitchen table with Dad. I know what you're going through. You don't know what we're going through." And then as far as the state of baseball, Dad was always a people first writer and person. And the game of baseball is for the fans. And so the seeing this week in Denver brought back where our game is. And it wasn't that our game took this last year and a half, but there was all sorts of stuff in our country and in the world. Right. And maybe this is a nice step for our country and the world, because that Denver place was rocking and rolling, and the home run hitting contest, the All-Star game, the festivities out there, that was tremendous for the industry of baseball. For Denver, of course, for us and the Mets, it was really good. That's a special thing to see one of your special players, do something that was, he was one of 8 in the world participating in the home run derby on Monday night, and he was the one that walked away with the championship. So it was great for New York and the Mets.
Dave, congratulations. We love talking to you. Just a final question. Has anybody told you if you'll be throwing batting practice to Chris Bryant anytime soon?
It's a really good question. Just so you know, at 3 o'clock today, I'll be at Citi Field throwing to some optional BP before we hop on a charter and go and start a series against the Pirates tomorrow, which is now, again, the most you move on every day in this game, and we're ready to do that.
That's great stuff, Dave. Great talking to you. Both David and I were lucky enough to know your dad and your mom, Kenny. We knew her well, too, and just wonderful. So proud of you. A lot of people in Chicago really happy to see your success here.
Thanks so much.
Sounds great. Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
That's Dave Joust. That is hysterical. Why wouldn't he just tell us that they had lined up to throw to Bryant? I mean, that would be breaking news, wouldn't it?
I like that you're trying to get some news out of him. We're reminiscing. We're having a moment. We're celebrating baseball's return. Hey, they're going to trade for Chris Bryant. Nice.
It's just
nice
sports writer question. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
All right. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to bring in Dan and Layla, and we'll talk it over with them. It's Mully and Haw, The Score.
Odyssey now has hundreds of new exclusive music stations for you to discover your new summer soundtrack.
Get moving with worthy workouts for a cardio sesh fueled by today's top artists.
Hanging with your crew? Throw it back with Picnic Party for old school jams for your cookout.
Or sail away with Odyssey's new yacht rock station, Jugger Yacht.
There are hundreds of new exclusive stations to check out today.
For summer barbecues,
road trips,
or relaxing poolside.
For every mood, every interest, every passion. By Odyssey. Brought to you in part by Macy's and Geico.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.